6:30, we'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Williston Basin School District Number 7 regular meeting to order. If we could please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could call the roll.
Junt,
Here.
Barsh,
Here.
Wheeler, Kilgore,
Here.
Wallstead,
Here.
Renner, Swint.
Here. We have a quorum. We will proceed. Do you have a copy of the mission and vision? Don't have it. Just one second. Yeah. No, to the top. There. I got it. Our vision is to foster student growth and build trusting partnerships between students, staff, family, and community. And education at WBSD 7 will support our students' intellectual, social, and emotional growth. We will provide students with an innovative curriculum supported by various co-curricular activities. The outcome of our efforts will empower students to make a difference in their community and world. We believe in providing a safe environment where healthy relationships and student growth are priorities. Item number 2, adopt the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Item number 3, showcasing schools. Tonight we have a presentation for Wilkinson's Elementary.
Right here. That's what I do here. Okay.
Yep.
My name's Rio Boston. I'm the principal at Wilkinson Elementary. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to kind of showcase some of the things we're doing at Wilkinson this year. Been a lot of challenges. First year administrator, so take it easy on me. This is the first time I've done this. I'm going to try to keep it kind of quick, but there are some kind of cool things that we did this year that I want to talk about. Yeah. Closer. Oh, right here? Okay. And I can talk louder too. I don't want to blow your ears out here. Okay, so Terry, getting that thing figured out, it's okay. Okay, so if you go to the next slide there, I kind of want to talk about the staff. That was one of our big challenges to get started with the year. We trying to get people hired and that sort of thing. And as a first year guide, you know, I was just flying by the seat of my pants trying to figure things out. But we figured it out. We've got 13 classroom teachers. I'm going to kind of go through the teachers that we have that returned and then the teachers that are brand new this year. So in kindergarten, we have 2 sections. We have Mrs. Nissen, who is a returning teacher, and we have Mrs. Montz, who is a long-term sub. First grade, we have 2 sections. We have Mrs. Dahl and Mrs. Hanig, both returning from the year prior. Second grade, we have 3 sections. We have Mrs. Gardner, who is a returning teacher. We have Mrs. Ewert, who is a long-term sub, and then we have Miss Evenson, who is a first-year teacher. Third grade, we have 3 sections. We have Mrs. Cottingham, who is a first-year teacher. We have Mrs. Telsrow, who's a certified para. And then for most of the year, we had Mrs. O'Neill. She's a long-term sub. She had a baby, so she's out for the rest of the year. And we have Mrs. Daniel in that position as a long-term sub for the rest of the year. And then 4th grade, we have Mrs. Owen. She returned. Mrs. Leach returned. And then we have Mrs. Lopez, who is a J1 teacher from the Philippines. And she arrived in October. Before that, we had a long-term sub, Mr. Norman. So big challenges with brand new staff. Along with the 13 classroom teachers, we have a brand new PE teacher. Her first year in PE, Mrs. Simonson. We have a first year library media specialist, Mrs. Carnes. We have a first year counselor, Miss Anderson. And we have Mrs. Winslow, who returned as our music teacher. And then, of course, myself as a first year administrator. We have some great paraprofessionals at our school, 9 paraprofessionals in general education. That's kind of changed over the course of the year with hiring and that sort of thing, but right around 9. And we have Title I support at our school too. Some great strategists, Mrs. Vile, Mrs. Moe, and Mrs. Finders. So if you wanted to go to the next one, next slide, talk a little bit about our SPED staff. We have 3 special education classrooms. We have an LD classroom. The teacher in that classroom is Miss Manulet. We have a high needs classroom, Mrs. Ogden. And then we have early childhood special education as well, and that's Mrs. Cody. And then we have 7 special education pairs to support them throughout the 3 classrooms. Okay, next one would be good. Okay, so that's the staff. Let's talk a little bit about our students. Our students at Wilkinson, culturally, socioeconomically, and academically diverse. We are a Title I school. 33% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. So we have a lot of diversity in the classroom, whether it's culturally or academically or socioeconomically. Gives us the opportunity, though, to kind of explore those different things as we go through the year. And we like to celebrate that too. So we do a student of the month every single month. Each teacher chooses one student from their classroom to kind of highlight some of these different, successes with individual students, whether it's academically, socially, or anything else, just being a good human being. We like to celebrate that every month with a presentation. They get a certificate and a little snack, and it's just an opportunity for parents to come in and kind of see the good things that their students are doing. Okay, next one, Terry, at a glance. So I know I'm like the last one doing this, right? Am I the last school? Is this the last one, or is there one more after me? I think I'm the last one. I mean, it's May. So anyways, you've heard a lot of this stuff before probably, but I do want to talk about the 3 things that I think Wilkinson has had some challenges with, but also is moving in the right direction. And I'm really excited about years to come. And that's our academics, it's our behaviors, and it's our school culture. And if you want to go to the next one, I want to highlight some of our academics right away that I think is really impressive with our first grade. So first grade NDA plus testing. In the first interim test for NDA plus, we scored a 255 in math, and that 255 in math is below the district average, and that's our first test that we took. By the third interim, we scored a 267, which surpasses the state average in mathematics. And if you go to the next one, our first graders did the exact same thing in reading. So we started out kind of slower, but through the different things that we've been doing through our academics with collaboration with our first grade teachers, with talking with kindergarten teachers about what our students, where they're at and what they need, and then using those interventions in our Title I services, we've really shown a lot of growth in first grade. Now, we've shown growth in other grades too. This is probably just the biggest growth. But we've also shown, that we have some challenges academically, and those are things that we're addressing. And like every day is just another opportunity to think about, what could we do different tomorrow? What could we do different next week? And what are we going to be doing differently next year to show growth across all of our grade levels like this? So if you wanted to go to the next one, one of the things we're using, and the other schools are using this too, is BAR. We're in our first year of implementation, so Wilkinson is looking at how are we going to use BAR, building assets, reducing risks, to help support our MTSS systems and make sure that what we're doing with the BAR program is aligned with what works with Wilkinson. And so that it's been kind of a trial and error in some of those things, and we've been working with our coach, Steve, from BAR, and he's walking us through it all. So we've got our small block meetings where we're meeting with grade level. We're talking about individual kids, about academics, about behaviors. We're trying to figure out, okay, what are the strengths of this kid? What are that kid's connections with the school? And how do we best serve them behaviorally and academically? And when we figure that out, we have to come up with some kind of strategy or some kind of intervention that we're going to use to show progress. And like I said, it's been a work in progress, but we're getting there. And then the big block meetings, also very beneficial when you look at certain students where you've tried certain interventions, different strategies, and it's just not working. We're not seeing the progress. We need to take it to the next level of, who else can help us in this situation. So we look at different grade level teachers. We look at our counselors. We look at our special education department. We talk to maybe social worker, and we put all these people together and put their ideas together. And that's what the big block meetings look like. Sometimes that's just another teacher that's had a similar student in the past, and they said, this is something that works with this student. We need to make sure that we can try this and we can track it and make sure it's working. So yeah, that's BAR in a nutshell. Okay, next one, Terry. Okay, this one I'm really excited about because beginning of the year, if you've ever thought about putting together an elementary schedule, which I hadn't before this year, it's not easy, right? And not everybody's happy. And then you're making some tweaks and some changes along the way. And that's kind of been the idea of this entire year is we're going to figure this out. It's going to take some time, but the things that we do are going to show progress as we move forward. And the schedule was one of those big things. And so the schedule, we are aligning our schedule next year so that it's an intervention-based schedule, which means we have a lot of needs for academics and behaviors, and the only way we're going to make that happen is if we align the schedule to give us the most support during our intervention times. And so the intervention times that we have are what I need now, our win time, is going to allow paras to move from different areas of the school to provide support in those small group settings. And then also on top of that, I'm really excited about this. Our K through 2 is going to have the opportunity to vertically align, which I've done that in the past and it seems to work really well. Typically the schedule doesn't work out to where you can vertically align from kindergarten to first grade to second grade, but we have in our schedule for next year the opportunity for one first grade teacher to work with the kindergarten sections, and then one first grade teacher to work with the second grade sections. So they'll be able to PLC with a lower grade level and PLC with a higher grade level. And then one day of the week, they can PLC with each other. So they'll do maybe 1 week with kindergarten, and then the next week they'll come back together and they'll talk about what they've learned from kindergarten and what they've learned from second grade. And that vertical alignment, I think, is going to build a really strong foundation academically. When you look at the prerequisite skills needed in first grade, you can find those in kindergarten and talk with the teachers on a regular basis about what do our kids need from kindergarten to first grade, and then what do our kids need from first grade to second grade. So I'm really excited about that. The other big change we're going to make in our schedule is the departmentalizing of fourth grade. So, instead of a fourth grade teacher teaching math, science, social studies, reading, all the subjects, we're going to departmentalize it a little bit where one teacher will be teaching math, one teacher will be teaching reading or ELA, and then the other teacher will be working with science and social studies. And then they'll come together in that win time and all kind of collaborate. We'll also have pull in and push out, or push in and pull out times for our Title I services to come into those classrooms as well. I think that's going to be huge. We have a huge need in that area. And then it's going to be huge with consistency of behavior management in that fourth grade, making sure that our teachers all know every single student and all those students understand the expectations across the entire fourth grade, especially moving in and transitioning into fifth grade and sixth grade. Very important, I think, with the change in how it's structured as you get into some of those upper levels. Okay, so our behavior. This has been a big deal on how we've handled behavior. One thing that we implemented this year to kind of keep us on track with consistency of how we deal with certain behaviors how we explain those behaviors to students, and then how we explain those behaviors to parents is our behavior matrix. And we're by far not the first school to do this, and I think we probably begged, borrowed, and stolen like half of this stuff, but we catered it to ourselves, like to Wilkinson and what Wilkinson needed and what we thought would be best. It's just been a really good tool to kind of maintain that consistency with our behaviors. We also use conscious discipline strategies. I don't know if you can see it on there, but when you talk about if I'm displaying some minor disruptions, then I go to classroom discretion, and some of those things, those like a safe place or the time machine, those types of things, or our morning meetings, those are things that are conscious discipline ideas. I'm not trained in conscious discipline. Half the staff isn't trained in conscious discipline, but we've been working with the staff that we have that is to try to get up to speed on some of those things, and that would be a great wish for Wilkinson in the future, is for all of our staff to be trained with conscious discipline. And then also with behaviors, we've really had, I don't know if it's luck or just it's just been a great thing to have a behavior para that does such a great job. And we also have used our Title I support in behaviors as well to help us manage those behaviors, creating behavior plans for students, and the follow through and accountability and consistency. Okay, so this is something kind of fun that we came up with to build culture in the building. It didn't happen right away, but we did find right away that some of our students were just not engaged. There was something about, I don't know what it was, but we were having a hard time getting them engaged, excited about school. And one of the things that came up was, how do we get all the students together in a different capacity and all the teachers together in a different capacity to do something fun for a day? So we came up with this twist day. Together we include students and teachers. And basically what it is, we've been using the early out days to do it, but it's about an hour and a half of relationship building. Students are put into different classrooms. Different teachers are able to see students from different levels. So you'll have a classroom with kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade students. And they're working together in those classrooms on STEAM activities. Sometimes it's just a fun activity, like the last one was just family game night. So kids brought games in, and then the fourth grade students were able to kind of mentor and collaborate with the first grade students and teach them how to play certain games. So it's just a cool opportunity for us to kind of push this idea that every student in the building is every teacher's responsibility, and the young men and women growing up in our schools have a responsibility too for the younger kids in the school to kind of mentor and be a good example and be good role models for our students. Okay, getting to the end here. So I wanted to talk about this just because it just turned out to be something way bigger than I thought it was going to be, and it was kind of a really exciting thing for Wilkinson. When you have an idea or you have a need and you think, okay, what are some things that we can do to solve a problem? And you have a super strong PTO that is willing to take the time and effort to plan and to really help, things like this can happen. And this 24-hour run, we said we got some issues with our playground. Let's see what we can do to raise some money. And I was thinking maybe $10,000, $15,000 would be amazing. And we took a kind of a simple idea of running for 24 hours, having people pledge, and then the PTO went out and did some things that we've done in the past, an ice cream social. We did a shoe drive, and all these kind of things came together, and we've got the coolest thing about it was the community support. I was kind of blown away by how many people that were not connected to Wilkinson in like a direct way. They didn't have a kid in Wilkinson. They never had a kid in Wilkinson, but they're reaching out to me saying, how can I help? Like, what are some things I can do? And that was just like a really kind of hopeful thing for me, for the district, for the community of Williston. I mean, it was also very cool that we raised like $60,000 in the process, but I think Paula said it was like the post that you made afterwards reached like, it was like 100,000 or something, like over 100,000 people. And that kind of just blows my mind. And it's just one of those cool things where it's like, we do have something great going on at Wilkinson, and we're just going to see more and more growth as the years go on. So the last slide are just some takeaways, and I'm glad I kind of got to do this at the end of the year, because if I did at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have known what to say. But there's three kind of takeaways that I think are the most important things from this year. The first one is the Wilkinson staff is resilient. Like, they've been through a lot. The staff and the students are resilient. They've been through a lot of changes, and to see them kind of step up and do the things that I've asked them to do is really encouraging and really inspiring. So I'm really excited about that. The second thing is consistency is key. So obviously I'm a runner, and the number one thing with running is that the only way you stay good at running or get better is you run. And it's the same thing with education. The only way that we're going to get better is that we continue to do the things that we're doing now consistently with the same people. So it's exciting because last year, I think the turnover, out of the 13 classroom teachers that we have this year, I think 6 of them returned. So huge turnover from last year, a lot of challenges. This year, very few of those teachers are leaving, so we're going to have the same teachers next year, and we're going to be able to build off the things that we did this year. And then the last thing I always tell the staff this in some way, shape, or form is you can't always see the forest for the trees, and we get stuck in that a lot of times as educators, where you're in it and you don't see the changes that are happening. But this was a great opportunity to reflect. So I appreciate that opportunity, and I hope you can see the changes that we've started with, or the things we started with and the changes we've made. So thank you. Now, am I supposed to field questions? Because that's scary.
Board members, any questions? Mr. Junt?
2 questions. What would you say was your biggest change or challenge from being in the classroom to transitioning to administration? And then the follow-up to that, would you have any advice to people in the classroom that are maybe looking at getting into administration?
Probably the biggest change moving from the classroom into this position is all eyes are on you. Everybody's asking for your opinion, for your decision. And I feel like it was really difficult at the beginning with Wilkinson because they were very afraid to make a decision. It was always, well, what does Mr. Boston want to do? And so that's one of the big things that we've been working on all year is like, it's okay to make decisions as a teacher that are going to help out the rest of the school. I always tell them not everybody's going to be happy with a decision, but I'll back you up on those decisions. So that's been the biggest thing is just, I've never had that, that feeling of like, okay, every single person in this building is relying on me to do this. And the other thing that's big and different is I'm not able to be in a classroom teaching. And so like that was what I was passionate about and what I got excited about. But I've been so, I feel so grateful that I've been able to be in this position and to help teachers, especially new teachers that are like, I don't know if I want to be a teacher. And then they get into the classroom and you see those moments of like, yes, I do want to be a teacher. But then you see the moments of, no, there's no way I'm not coming back tomorrow. But then they come back, and that's like the cool thing about it. What I would say to somebody that is interested in it, if you're interested in it, go for it. Like you can try, you see what it's like, and yeah, go for it.
Board members? Mr. Walstead?
Mr. Boston, thank you first of all for leading the charge and raising money for playground equipment. That was phenomenal. I used to sell Thin Mints for Wilkinson Elementary.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
to,
delicious.
to buy playground equipment when I was there. What have you learned about yourself? I mean, you said this is your first year as an administrator.
Mm-hmm.
What are you learning about yourself, your leadership style? What adjustments do you anticipate making next year as a result of what you learned? And then second question, follow-up, because you're the leader, where are you going next year with the school? What do you?
Yeah.
So.
what have I learned about myself? Geez, this is interesting. I don't know how to answer this really. I don't know. Just everybody kind of has the I think everybody has the capacity to be a leader, and everybody has a different style of how they lead. I like to think that I'm a listener first, and I listen to what people have to say, and then I have the experts in the building help me make decisions because I don't know everything. Like, I'm not going to know everything, and I'm not an elementary guy. Like, I came from secondary, so there's a lot of things that I didn't know about that I'm learning a lot every single day, and I think that learning process together has helped bring us together too. So, and then where we're going, we're gonna. I mean, next year we're gonna have some different things set in place. We're gonna have a lot of growth academically. We're gonna have our a lot of those behaviors that really gave us trouble at the beginning of the year. They're gonna exist, but we're gonna deal with them, and they're gonna minimize year after year. And as we do that, the students and the staff kind of learn this is the way Wilkinson operates. And if you're at Wilkinson, this is who we are, and this is what we do. So, yeah.
Board members? Ms. Kilgore?
Yeah, I just had a question on the PLC. I think it was the scheduling piece. Is that for all kids, or was that just for like the WIN kids? And can you explain how that program works again?
Okay, so our PLCs, all teachers PLC with typically what we've done in the past is you've had a PLC, a professional learning community, with your grade level partner. So if there's 3 sections of second grade, those 3 teachers would meet on a weekly basis to talk about student needs. So every student or every teacher PLCs with the kindergarten through second grade, the teachers are going to get an opportunity to meet with different grade level teachers. So a first grade teacher can meet with a kindergarten teacher, and a first grade teacher can meet with a second grade teacher, but then they also get the opportunity to meet together to talk about what they discussed in the first grade, second grade PLC, first grade kindergarten PLC.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
what you're asking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that process, so I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Bursch?
Just one question for you. You already knew you could run for 24 hours without stopping?
Well, to be fair, I did stop. So yeah, I did stop. Not because I wanted to, but yeah, I have done some races where I've gone for 33 hours, I think was the longest race.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. No, really, I just wanted to, thanks for being a leader, responding to a call of action. That wasn't hard, or that wasn't easy. And it's kind of to your point of everyone kind of looking to you type of thing. I empathize for you in that role as a leader, and I appreciate you for stepping up.
Thank you.
Just real quick, and then you can go. Thank you for stepping into a role that wasn't going to be an easy one to fill by walking into Wilkinson and trying to change not so much a culture of a district, but you had to change an entire culture of a building that had went through some very tough situations. So we appreciate you and your willingness to do that. And I do hope that you're getting the support that you need as an administrator within your growth, because a first-year administrator, that would be tough. I can just imagine how hard it would be even if you had been in it for 5 years. So thank you once again. You're doing amazing things. We've heard nothing but great things of what's going on in your school, so we're very proud of you.
All right. Thank you. Am I good?
You're good.
Walk out? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Next item is the teacher appreciation video.
So we have a fairly short video that has not been yet released for Teacher Appreciation Week. This will be the first time someone's seeing it. And then we're going to add a little bit on after the school board meeting because we didn't get any school board members on part of this. So it's the debut, and we're really proud of the kids and staff and one parent in this video.
It's Teacher Appreciation Week.
I love my teacher! My teacher is the best. She always makes us smile. We appreciate you, teachers.
This week, we celebrate you and the difference you make in the lives of our students, families, and community.
My teacher is Miss Bowden. She's kind and helpful, and I learn a lot from her.
Kindergarten teacher has done a really great job with my son. Can tell that he's blossomed thanks to Miss Johnson.
Teachers are awesome.
Celebrate. It's Teacher Appreciation Week.
I love my teacher!
My teacher is the best. She always makes us smile.
We appreciate you, teachers.
This week, we celebrate you and the difference you make in the lives of our students, families, and community.
My teacher is Miss Bowden. She's kind and helpful, and I learn a lot from her.
I like my teacher. She helps us with everything. Teachers are awesome.
With over 370 teachers in our district, we are incredibly proud of the dedication, heart, and impact that each of you brings to our school every single day.
My son's kindergarten teacher has done a really great job with my son. Can tell that he's blossomed thanks to Miss Johnson.
Teachers are awesome.
We appreciate you, teachers, so much. Thank you, teachers.
Happy Teacher Appreciation Week.
I want to thank Miss Warren the most. She's my biology teacher, and she really helped me bring my grade up. Like, she helped me be a better student.
My teacher is awesome. She makes everything fun. I love my teacher. My teacher is Mr. Munger, and he's funny, and that's what makes him a good teacher. My teacher's amazing.
Thank you to all our teachers for just being very influential in our lives and always having an impact on me and the way I learn, and I just really appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Our teachers rock!
Thank you, teachers, for all that you do.
All right, so the non-glitchy version of that, plus some school board members at the end, will be released tomorrow.
Great job. Moving on to item number 4, communicating with the public. Public participation at board meetings is governed by district policy BCBA. Meetings of the board are conducted for the purpose of carrying on the business of the schools and therefore are not public meetings, but meetings held in the public. Although there is no legal requirement that the public be given an opportunity to speak at board meetings, it is the policy of this board to afford that opportunity in accordance with the following procedures. Only items on the published board agenda will be discussed at any meeting of the board unless the superintendent or a board member requests an addition to the agenda of a regular meeting and the board members present approve in accordance with board policy. No individual may speak more than once. Please state your name for the record. State the agenda item you are speaking to. Comments will be limited to no more than 3 minutes per individual. Public comment will be limited to no more than 30 minutes in total. The board had adopted policies governing patron complaints. The public is required to seek redress through these policies. The public will be prevented from commenting on a topic if it is governed by a district complaint policy and the complainant has not followed the procedure contained in policy and or the policy prohibits the public from bringing the complaint before the board, concerns a topic that is prohibited by law from disclosure to the public, such as a student's educational record. Undue interruptions or other interference with the orderly conduct of board business cannot be allowed. Defamatory or abusive remarks are always out of order. The presiding officer may terminate the speaker's privilege of address if, after being called to order, he persists in improper conduct or remarks. Furthermore, any individual who is persistently disruptive of a school board meeting may be removed from that meeting by order of the presiding officer. If you wish to provide any public comment this evening, please step forward to the podium, announce your name for the record, as well as the agenda item you are speaking on this evening. Do we have any public comment this evening? Any public comment this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to 4B, Williston Basin School Board response to previous board meeting public comment. The last meeting, the public comment was relating to items covered under the, what item was that? Specifically relating to the boundaries and the school board process in those. We had a speaker speak to the community during the meeting, so all those questions could be answered after they were stated during the public comment portion, and there were no other items relating to public comment. From there, we'll move on to item number 5, informational report to the board. Item A is City of Williston presentation.
Good evening, Your Honor, board members. David Juma, City Engineer for the City of Williston. Tonight we have a couple different items. I'm thinking if it's all right with you, I will not dive into the MOU until we get to that topic. So we'll just kind of give a real brief overview of what we have. So on February 5th, we opened bids for what's now the Slowland Drive project. That was formerly 13th Avenue. We went ahead and renamed that so it's consistent with not only the school but the project as a whole in the Williston Square. Of the bids that we received, Central Specialties was the apparent low responsive bidder at $3,054,374.18. We did get 3 bids on that project. And we took it to the commission on the 11th. The board approved the bids, directed my department to apply for State Water Commission grant amongst many other things. We did that in April. We were heard at the State Water Commission and we were successful and we were granted or given the grant. When I wrote this memo, we still were working on getting the grant agreements in place. Those have now been returned to the State Water Commission. And then as of this morning, the planned start date for construction on that chunk of street is the 23rd of this month. So the project that we'll be building this year will be Slowland Drive from 33rd Street north to 36th Street and then 1 block of 36th Street along with what we're calling Detention Pond 8 or DP8. That is a detention pond. It's a regional part of our system. It's sized to fit a full-size soccer field in the bottom. When we did the side slopes, we did so that it was accommodating to people so they could sit and watch, so we won't need bleachers, and that's kind of how that was all put together. When we did the State Water Commission grant share, I went through the bids and did a complete takeoff on the section that was next to the school's property, and again, I'll dive into that in more detail, but that's kind of how the numbers came to be that are in the memo that you have. So we'll dive into that paragraph later if that's okay, and I'll stand for questions.
Board members, any questions?
I don't have any until we get to the MOU, so I'll retain those until we get to 6A.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Item B, Slolan Elementary construction update.
Good evening. Ryan Anderson with J.E. Dunn Construction. Here for your monthly update on Slolan Elementary. So we've got 60 workers on site averaging right now. In the next couple weeks, we're going to be to 80 to 100. We have steel erectors on site. We have site utilities going on site. We have plumbers on site, electricians on site, and roofers on site, and spray foamers on site. The steel erectors are working on the floor and roof structure in the west wing, which is the 2 through 5 classrooms. Site utilities is done with sewer and water up around the building, done with storm sewer up around the building, and they have a little bit of storm sewer to tie up on the northeast side, but wrapping that up pretty quickly. Gymnasium roofing is complete. The north wing, which is the K through 1 classroom, is nearly complete. And then they will be following the steel erectors into the west wing to do that 2 through 5 wing. The plumbers are working in the north wing underneath that, or in that K through 1 north wing. The electricians are doing some underground stuff exterior to get the transformer pad is poured for the electrical transformer, and they're working on getting their conduits into the building for that. And then the plumbers are pretty much done in that north wing. So the electricians, they're deeper than the electricians, so then they go after the plumbers are deeper than the electricians, so then that's kind of the order of operations, is the plumbers go in and then the electricians are shallower. Framers, I may not have mentioned framers. So framers are on site too. They're finishing up the exterior metal framing, and anywhere you see exterior metal framing is where metal panels are going. So for the most part, the building is precast concrete, but there's some areas of metal panels. So that's going to be wrapping up soon, and then once that's done, the metal panel contractor will come out and field measure for their metal panels. We always field measure those before we order them, make sure everything's good. And then the spray foamers are spray foaming the canopies and getting spray foam in those canopies at the north entrance and the west entrance. Slabs on grade are going to be starting in the next week or two. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be starting interior framing. And then in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to start putting windows in. So it's coming. Project's about 30% complete. A couple other things going on is MDU and Nemont and Midco, not Nemont, NCC, are out there in Slolan Drive, not 13th, getting the gas and the electricity and the fiber up to our site. And the project signs are going to be going up this week. And we do have 2 of them. We have one on the west and one on the east. So everybody should know what's going on there. Because believe it or not, somebody has asked me what we are building up there. It's kind of wild. So that's our update. Any questions? Nick, you have anything to add?
Nick Lippert, JLG Architects. A couple things that we've been working through on design. Tomorrow we're actually verifying against owner-provided equipment versus what the contractor is providing. Pretty important piece right now that everything's shaken out. We can compare notes again, making sure everything's going to be in the building at the end of the day. So that hosting a meeting tomorrow with the district staff with that. Second thing I want to just touch base on is bring awareness to House Bill 1144. that was passed and signed by the governor, which does impact how restrooms are being used and designed and built within elementaries or schools in general across the state. We have come to a plan and no significant modifications to the plan, thankfully. Just some additional signage is how we're progressing with that. So if you do see that and wonder, we did not have any significant impacts to the building as part of the House bill. So thank you.
Board members, any questions? Mr. Junt?
How are we tracking in terms of construction timeline? On schedule, ahead of schedule, behind schedule?
I'll tell you we're ahead, but I'll never tell you that till we finish, if you know what I mean. So it's going good. Yep, going good. The whole, the way the project timelines work to where we couldn't wait till spring to start. That just wasn't enough time to build it. So to be able to start last fall and get the precast ordered and get those foundations in, and yeah, we had to pay some winter conditions costs and things like that to do that, but set the project up well. So things are tracking very well.
Any other questions? Okay, we will move on to Hagen deferred maintenance update.
Sure. So I think the majority of this piece, I want to give an update on the roof at Hagen, but quickly with the HVAC upgrades, not a whole lot to report there. We're ordering materials and still planning to start the first day of summer. So nothing much there. And then the next HVAC upgrade that's been targeted with the next highest priority is Lewis and Clark. And we're working to establish a budget for that and trying to figure out what's available and things. But another high priority need has been roof leaks. And so we put a group of people together to go walk some roofs. And so on April 17th, we went to Hagen, we went to Wilkinson, we went to Basin, and we went to Lewis and Clark. And what we found is that Hagen's a pretty critical need, we think. It appears to be the original roof. It is the school that's it's experiencing the most roof leaks. It seems like at the other schools, there's some isolated roof leaks at the Basin on the auditorium that we feel can be patched. We saw some spots that can probably be patched. Overall, the membranes. The rest of the schools, the roofs we're guessing 15 to 20 years old. So life expectancy on that roof membrane is 20 years. So we would recommend, maybe the next 5 to 7 years or something, start trying to phase in some roof replacements on those other schools. And then the other leaks seem to be at Wilkinson and Lewis and Clark seem to be isolated to the modulars. And so we talked to Chris about some of that, and they're going to do a minimally invasive plan to address some of that as well. So nothing major there, but Hagen appears to be the original roof. It's a ballasted roof, which means it has rock on the top of it that acts as ballast to hold down the membrane. So it's very difficult to find roof leaks on a ballasted roof. You have to go up there and shovel rock all over the place and try to find where the water's coming in. So that's but the other thing is, at the edges of the roof membrane, you're starting to see it tent, which means the membrane is shrinking and it's starting to pull away, and you can just visibly inspecting the roof membrane. It's very close too, and it might even be it's probably letting water in some places. You walk on the roof and it's very spongy, which means there's water in the insulation. So ideally, we could find a way to get that roof replaced this summer before, the dam breaks type thing. So we've ran some budgets on replacing that, and it's about 1.4 million. It's a 40,000 square foot roof, and that would be to remove all the ballast, and that would be to take the roof down to the deck. So all the way down to the metal decking. So the entire roof assembly comes off. You don't always have to do that on a re-roof if the insulation's in good shape and you're just trying to replace the membrane. But because that insulation is soft and wet, it's not good. We, at that dollar value, the project needs to be competitively bid. And so JLG, I believe later on in the agenda, has put an amendment together. I don't know if you want to speak on your contract stuff, but essentially, and this will be news to me too, we need to find out how quickly we can get design documents, but trying to move quickly to try to get this out on the street for bid, work with the business manager to verify the dollars are there, and then that how that aligns with Lewis and Clark to see what can be paid for at Lewis and Clark HVAC and things like that too. But want to spend as much as we can on Lewis and Clark. I mean, even down to things like getting the old coal boiler out of the basement if we can. But it just depends on how much money's available and things. And so this critical need roof at Hagen is a big factor with that.
Right, yeah, I think looking back at it, again, no records on hand of the quality or condition of or timing of what this roof currently is. Again, I think from an asset standpoint, again, one of the newest buildings in the fleet. However, it hasn't had a whole lot of major maintenance on the roof. It's had some spot patches here and there. I think going back on it, like Ryan was saying, we are with that 1.4 assuming the most conservative worst case scenario of tear off and replace, just given what we can observe today. As we get into it, we can adjust that. And again, we've got a solution as far as timing goes that we can address this as quickly as possible to get this on and ready for the school season here coming up in the fall. So well, we can talk about that a little bit later in the agenda about how we look to adjust that with that additional service. So I think other than that, for Hagen, that's about it.
Any questions?
Board members, any questions? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks.
Item D, Harlow's transportation presentation.
Hey, good evening. How are you? Ken Bischoff, Director of Operations for Harlow School Bus Services. I oversee the North Dakota and South Dakota locations, and I have Katie Zufelt with me, and she is our transportation manager here. Just hoping to kind of highlight some of the things that are going on in transportation right now, and kind of what we see coming up for the next year. And Katie's going to kind of walk us through some of those things.
Well, yeah, good morning. Good afternoon.
Seems like morning?
It seems like morning. Every day for me is morning. I kind of had this sort of thrown at me the end of last week, so I do have copies of what I'm kind of going to go over if you guys would like those.
Do you guys have copies? Okay,
Yay,
yep,
perfect.
they're good.
You did get them out.
Yep.
Good girl. Okay. So I'm just going to pretty much just go right through it all. If you have questions, stop me or I'll do it at the end. Like you said, I've been the transportation manager since about September of last year. I've actually been with Harlow's since about the 1st of January of last year, driving bus for them, activities and routes. So I've kind of had my hands in for a little bit. So currently we have 5 full-time 12-month employees, includes myself as the manager, an assistant manager, one dispatcher, lead mechanic, and and a shop mechanic. I do have 29 part-time 10-month employees, 3 activity drivers, all they do is activities, 23 route drivers, non-CDL and CDL, depends on what type of bus they're at right now or where they are. I do have 2 sub-drivers and 1 trainee. In our hiring pool, I have currently 1 right now that's waiting to start. She's waiting until the end of the school year and then she'll start her training with us. She's already through the whole entire process, just waiting on her ready to go. I have 2 in training for their CDL. They are included in the count above as part of the 23. I do the training for that, so they spend a lot of time with me when they're first getting started, but they do receive a Class B CDL with all of their endorsements for that. So I have 2 going there, and I have 4 in the application and hiring phase. They're kind of in different spots. Some of them, I think we're waiting on some backgrounds to finish and just the rest of their paperwork, so kind of where we are with that. And then obviously our employee wages, they're paid hourly. They do have the opportunity to earn a daily bonus, and then they do have hiring and referral bonuses that they can also get. As far as assets go, we currently have 26 general route buses, That's our larger buses. So anything that's over 14 capacity, some of them have maybe only 18 if they have a wheelchair access for them. We have, your paperwork says 4 out of service, but we just brought one back online today. We brought back number 2. So we have 3 out of service currently. That's bus 11, which is our propane bus, 19 and 26. We have 5 smaller buses. They're the 14 passenger buses, which are currently being used for special education routes. We do have 2 of our general route buses, those 26 that are being used as special education as well. We have 8 activity buses that are running currently, with 2 new ones that have been ordered, and they'll be here, we think, sometime in the summer, probably July-ish. They usually contact us about 2 weeks before and tell us they're on their way. So I don't know when that's going to be, but I think July-ish. We have a couple assets that are needing to be phased out. Activity bus A2 is one of the 8 that's listed above. It is currently out of service, needing some pretty expensive repairs, so that's just kind of where it's sitting. General route buses that we would like to possibly phase out or retire out would be bus 19, bus 14, bus 11, and bus 2. And then our 14 passenger buses, they are all in great working condition. They don't need to be phased out. So currently, routes that we have, I've written them at capacity or at time limit, because not all of them are at capacity, but they may or may not be really close to the time limit that we have set for them, which is a 2-hour route. Keeps our kids from having to ride for too long before or after routes. We currently have 16 routes. At the beginning of the year, we started with 14. We were able to bring on one more general route that we used with a small bus. And then we did receive the 5 new buses, and we've brought one of those online since the beginning of the school year. We have approximately about 760 students, up from about 500 at the beginning of the year. And we plan to, by bringing on these extra employees and with the buses that we have, we'd like to have 21 routes running, general routes running by the beginning of school year. We have 7 sped routes. It's approximately 61 students, so it's those 5 small buses I talked about, and then 2 that are on larger buses. One of them has a wheelchair. The other one does not, just a larger bus. Let's see. Oh, we do plan to have, our sped routes are getting quite full, so we're thinking about moving a couple of them into larger routes, as they don't need, or into larger buses, excuse me, because they don't need wheelchair, so they can go into those bigger buses. It's just a matter of us being creative and how we do it, because not all of my small bus drivers have CDLs currently. The student wait list that we have right now, there's about 252. That's pretty approximate. It goes up daily, but that's down from about just under 600 is what we had kind of at the beginning of the year. So it's part of what we've brought on. Registrations do come in daily. They still come in even though we're only 2 or 3 weeks left. They come in based off of, we're kind of transient in this area, so people come in, they need busing, they put a registration in, or they move out, or they move to a different area. If they move from one bus route to another bus route, they have to do a new registration. So we kind of have those coming in daily. So that number, it fluctuates up and down depending on what's going on. And then our facilities, obviously, we're just over here on 8th East. The building, so the school district put in new flooring for us. They just did a new water heater right about the beginning of winter, I think. And then they're doing a new shop heater that's going to go in this summer. It just went down, so they'll probably wait till closer to the end of the summer. The school district had done a bid to repair the roof. It's been leaking quite a lot. I think the bid was quite expensive. They decided not to do it at this point. We did have a couple of cave-ins and some issues, so we just decided that we would go ahead. We had a contractor come in. While he couldn't fix the roof because the expense, we did have him reroute the leak. So there is a closet inside of the building that has a drain. So he put up a barrier and did all his guru stuff and built us a barrier. It reroutes the leak down into the actual drain. He was able to fix all of the cave-ins. We had one bathroom that completely caved in that was unusable for us for about a month. So he got that all fixed. He was able to redo both of our bathrooms. They didn't have any paint in them. We didn't have any ventilation fans. And so he just kind of came through and did all of that for us. We got paint done, new lighting, and some new doors and locking handles. And then right now, we have a couple of offices that need to be a little bit more secure. So he's going to come in and he's actually in the process of putting in new doors, which also made it to where he actually had to fix the walls just a little bit. They're too crooked, so we can't get new doors in. So he's just doing a little bit of fixing there for us. We will have new doors on both mine and my assistant manager's office that will have locks.
Combination locks.
Yeah, combination locks on them. Mine currently does, but the door is just one of the really thin doors. So anyway, that's going on now. And then our parking lot, I've talked a little bit to Michael and a couple of other people's. We do have the opportunity to look at. I don't know if we can acquire the lot that's to the south of us or if it's something we could look at renting. With all of the new buses and all of the new people coming in, we are running out of space to park buses and to park people's vehicles. I can't remember exactly who. I think it was maybe agronomist. Oh gosh, I should have had that here with me. I can't remember who was there before, and I don't know if they owned the property or they still own it or if it was rented, or I just don't know. But it might be worth looking into to see if we could. There's nothing there. They've taken everything off of it. It's just and it literally is adjacent to our land. So if it's something that we could possibly look at leasing or buying just to have the extra space to park. What's that? Okay. And then we are in our second year of the contract with up to 7 years to go, if possible. So that's about it.
Board members, any questions? Mr. Junt?
Two questions. The first one, are you seeing any increase in the number of applicants recently? Hearing, some layoffs and slowdowns maybe in the oil and gas space. You seeing any signs of that in your applicant pool?
Actually, well, we have just implemented a new recruiting system, so my applicant pool is actually going kind of crazy. We have a lot of ads going out. You've probably seen our buses parked with banners. If you've been to the movie lately, we have an ad that pops up before you watch your movie. But no, it's actually, mine stays pretty steady. And probably the last 2 months, it's raised quite a bit.
And I think a lot of that too comes from some of the recruiting efforts. I know that we had some real good success at one of the career fairs recently,
Yes.
Stuff like that.
The last 4 that I
and
hired
then
came
just,
directly from that. So
more concerted efforts to recruit and create recruiting teams. So
Mhm.
we had our national recruiter out here, about a month ago?
mhm.
And so we've actually got a new group of drivers that are kind of acting as a recruiting team. They go out in the community, do different things. We've seen most of our referrals or applicants come from direct contacts. It's amazing. It's the drivers referring friends, family members, stuff like that is where we see probably our biggest uptick in applicants.
Second question I had, with the implementation of the school boundaries in 2026, how do you guys foresee that impacting transportation in terms of the number of routes, number of employees needed? Anything you could maybe share with us there?
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm super excited for it. I cannot wait. I was hoping it was gonna come next year, but I think it's gonna make things a whole lot easier for us. I currently have buses that are crossing paths of each other because I have one kid over here that has to go over there. I've got high schoolers out here that have to come clear in. With the exception of Garden Valley and Missouri Ridge, those two won't change a lot just because they are so far out no matter what. I see it. We kind of had this conversation earlier too, with us possibly needing more buses or not needing more buses. The thing about it is routes, I could have 21 routes, but I technically need to have about 25 buses because I need to have buses in just there in case one breaks down or I've got to run one out or something like that. So I need them in the pool just in case. So I can just see it being huge. It's going to make it to where it won't cut our routes in half, but it will cut our routes down. I think we'll not routes down, not necessarily we'll still have buses running, but it'll just be a lot easier. We won't have so much time. We won't have the 2-hour time limit that we have to run by because they'll only be on the bus for 45 minutes tops. If we had to run 2, we could. It just makes it where I don't have to have so many people or so many buses to run because they're all going to be closer.
Board members? Hold on one second, Dr. Germanson. Board members, any follow-up questions to that? Mrs. Kilgore?
How many more people are you fully staffed right now?
We're not fully staffed right now. I could probably bring on about 7, and then I would be fully staffed and comfortable.
And then when it comes to the 26 school year, how many people do you think that you would need to be fully staffed?
I have the 2 in training right now and the 4 coming on, so possibly 1 more. The thing about it is we do have a little bit of, we have the turnover like most places do, but we've also fostered a pretty good culture of family and teamwork, and people love to be there. That's just kind of changed over about the last 6 months. So we have a lot more people talking about it. We have a lot more people telling everybody else, hey, come work with us. So I haven't had that turnover as much as it's been. But I have the 2 plus the 4, so maybe 1 more, and I would be really comfortable.
Okay. Yeah.
And we just did actually conclude a driver survey, and we send that out probably towards the end of the school year. It sounded like almost all drivers are planning to come back.
Yes.
Which is a good indicator. We know that we'll lose some, but just to know that they do want to come back and they're planning on it is great.
And if you're getting employer referrals, which it sounds like you are, you guys are doing something right, so kudos to your hard work.
Yeah, no, that's like I said, that's probably been our biggest.
Board members, anything else? Dr. Germanson?
Ken, you and I talked. First of all, I want to say you guys are doing a great job. So I know Mr. Arnold and I and Ken, you guys had talked, and I just would like you guys to kind of explain. You guys do great service. We do pay a premium for being in Williston. We pay a premium, I can't remember the factor, but even more than Watford, which is 45 miles away. So could you explain that to the board, please, on the cost of doing business in Williston with the driving and Harlow's?
Yep. And again, too, guys, not an exact science, but in some respects, when we came here 2 years ago, obviously, Williston Public Schools had put it out as an RFP, and we were one of the people that bid. And I hate to say it, I think we were the only bidder. The one thing when we were talking to the individuals at that time, business managers, superintendent, is that obviously pay was very important, and we need to keep that very consistent. Not sure if you guys are fully aware, but just the pay rate that drivers get here in Williston is much different than even what we see in McKenzie County. And again, too, we tried to retain those rates. So school district had sent driver rates, and we basically came in with that same, plus I think we upped it 50 cents per hour or something like that for driving. But as an example, we'll pay drivers out here to start $34.50, and that's where we're at today. Like transportation companies and even different locations in the state of North Dakota, you're probably closer into that lower 20s, 21, 22. So obviously the price for us drivers, full-time staff, everything that goes with working in Williston has been more expensive, and unfortunately your rates do reflect some of that. But we do use the same pricing models, so we're plugging just numbers in, trying to get a return on investment. Harlow's is obviously not a company that has made a lot of money on any contract. We try to obviously grow and grow with school districts, build reputation, and obviously the more entities we can get in an area, McKenzie County, Williston, Dickinson, allows us to operate and do okay. Like I said, the cost of doing business here was quite a bit more, I'll be honest.
I think it's worth saying as well that we do have to fight with the other wages that are in the area. We don't have full-time drivers. It's a part-time job. I think it's, like I said, it's just worth mentioning that fact. Also, I think I like offering a premium, or at least having that there, because the premium of the people that we get based off of that, and with having to work with our children and work in a bus and the environment that we're in, I want the cream of the crop, and I want the best of the best.
Yep.
I think it's just worth mentioning that.
And from a recruiting standpoint and hiring too, the school bus industry is very different. You probably know that from an education standpoint too, but we also have to look at those driving records. Our insurance company, we will not allow anyone behind the wheel that's even semi-close to, So if you have 2 speeding tickets within about a 3-year period, you're not driving, period, for us. So we can't even go or start a hiring process with that. So like I said, I think there are a lot of things that make our business very unique, but we are very particular on who we can hire and put behind the wheel, and that makes sense.
Board members, any follow-up questions? Thank you very much. We appreciate the information.
Appreciate the time. Thanks, guys.
Moving on to item E, monthly financial report. He's coming. I see him.
So as I noted in our weekly board report, our board update on Friday, because of the tight turnaround with the end of the month and when the stuff had to do, I don't have a complete financial report because I couldn't get the bank recs and stuff done, but we'll have those out to you shortly. But I did want to update you. There looks like we're at a 2.5% per year for funding from the state for an increase. And then also on the transportation funding piece, where it's at 0.1 right now for a factor, and then the bill had it moving down to 0.094, I think it was, or 0.091. But there's a stipulation in there that as long as your miles and routes don't decrease, then you'll stay at the 0.1. And so I've been working with Adam Tesh at the state office to get kind of some final numbers on there. And he got me some stuff here just before I headed over here. I haven't had a chance to filter through it yet, but I'll have those out to you guys too in a couple days or in a little bit anyway. So, but any questions on anything going on, or
Board members, any questions at this time?
Oh, I've been in touch with our auditors, and so we should have the final audits and stuff back here within the next couple 3 weeks. They figured they should have it to me by the first part of May. So I'm just kind of counting on by the middle of May that we'll have all of that information back. And so that again is for the fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24. So we'll get those 2 years wrapped up, and then we have them on the books for late this fall, probably November time-ish, to do fiscal year 25. So, and then we'll be back to the normal schedule where they're done right after the year closes, so that everything's fresh and keep us going, so that one, it keeps us in good standings if we ever need to do another bond or any of that stuff with the state or with selling of bonds. But then two, it just shows our stewardship for the local community and everything too. So,
Board members? Thank you very much.
you betcha.
Board members, are we good to proceed, or does anybody need a break? All right, we will proceed. Moving on to item 6, matters reserved for board action. This would be item A, approve city memorandum of understanding with the city of Williston. We do have a quick presentation here that we'll get run through.
Okay. All right. Well, Your Honor, David Juma, city engineer again. So when we put together the project itself, we collected bids, as we stated earlier. We went back through, and the way the State Water Commission does their grant funding is you basically divide your project up into 5 major pots. So you've got your general, your water, sewer, and your surface work. Excuse me. And then we take an allocation based on what is in each pot. So the general stuff gets spread around. That includes your topsoil, your seeding, your earthwork, and those types of items. After that spread is done, then we can also take up to 10 feet of trench width that they'll also pay for. So that's your asphalt, fabric, gravel, grid, all that stuff that's underneath the geogrid. And then we take that and apply a 60% factor to it, and that's what we apply for at the grant level. Okay, so when we prepared our estimated costs, I went through the project and did a takeoff from the beginning of the lot line to the top north half of the lot line of the lot that the school district owns. We took that number, then applied the unit pricing for the bids, split it 50-50, and then applied the grant dollars to not only the construction but also the construction administration and observation, or the CACO, as it's listed in your memo. We did not include any dollars for the design fees or any of those types of things, or any of the replatting, as we had agreed to in our purchase agreement. So That's kind of how the pricing for the MOU was put together, which I assume would probably be the focus of what we're most interested in. Getting into the MOU itself, this is kind of loosely modeled after what we get from our other entities that we work with, such as the NDDOT and park boards and those guys when we do have those types of items. So basically, it just outlines our obligations, your obligations, and kind of a time frame for what we're looking at. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Board members, any questions? Mr. Junt?
Mr. Juma, can you explain the difference between the two numbers? So the two numbers I'm looking at, the first one is on page 2, kind of the third paragraph there, where it says this amount is currently estimated at $527,280. And then ultimately, I believe what is our projected cost of the $487,800 at the bottom of page 3.
One is factored for the State Water Commission grant dollars, the other is not.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with the City of Williston as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Junt, seconded by Mr. Barsh. Call the roll, please.
Can I have a quick question, Mr. Chairman, maybe for Mr. Lippert? Do you recall offhand what we were retaining in this budget line item? $1 million, $1.2 million?
Again, if you remember, originally, I don't have my spreadsheet, I can spread that open, but we were holding roughly $1 million, a little under $1 million for this specific line item. And so again, anything that we'll have in the delta of that, currently planned on holding in the contingency for sometime roughly in the summer, and then potentially looking at releasing that for other uses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lippert. Mr. Junt, anything else?
No, I just, that's potentially, I think, a bucket of money as you guys are looking at projects such as the Hagen roof replacement, Lewis and Clark HVAC. There may be some potential dollars there to allocate from this towards that. So,
any more discussion, board members? Paula, if you could call the roll.
Kilgore,
Aye.
Wallstead,
Yes.
Junt,
aye.
Barsh,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item B, ratify the negotiated agreement between Williston Basin School District Number 7 and the Administration Association.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to ratify that agreement with the administration.
Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, any discussion?
Just real quickly, the edit or cleanup that was made today related to Article 13 terms of the agreement, there was just kind of a duplication there towards the end of that paragraph. And then the March 1st date was changed to January 20th just to match deadlines in terms of Century Code requirements on when those notices need to be served by either party. Just comments from me. Very much a pleasure working again with the administrative negotiation team. Went very smoothly. Definitely appreciate their reasonableness and their approach to the negotiation cycle. And I think that was reflective to the quick agreement that was reached on this. So very much appreciated.
Any additional comments, board members? I would just like to echo Mr. Junt's sentiment. We had a great process with our administrators. Their team did a wonderful job. We were very happy with how that went, and we're very excited to continue moving down the road with them. So thank you very much. Paula, if you could call the roll.
Wallstead,
Yes.
Junt,
Aye.
Barsh,
Aye.
Kilgore,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye, motion carries. Item C, approve Williston Parks and Recreation to submit an application to change the zoning from R1 to C2 on the land north of Williston Water Road. Go ahead, Mr. Barsh.
Mr. Chairman, I will recuse myself from voting on this matter, but I'm available as the Park District Director to answer any questions.
Do we have a motion?
Can I ask a quick question first?
Yes, you may.
Is the request here ultimately contingent upon the school district reaching an agreement with the Parks and Rec District on this piece of property? Meaning if there's not an agreement, the zoning stays R1, or is this completely independent of that potential action?
Correct. This agreement is dependent on the final acceptance of that process.
Any additional questions, Mr. Junt?
Nope, I would therefore, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve Williston Parks and Recreation to submit an application to change the zoning from R1 to C2 on the land north of Williston Water World.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Paula, if you could call the roll.
Junt,
Aye.
Kilgore,
Aye.
Wallstead,
Yes.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item D, authorize JLG to proceed with design documents for the Hagen roof replacement. Do we need any further information from Mr. Lippert or board members? No? Dr. Jermenson?
I guess I would just like to say this has come up awfully quick. I know that Ryan and Nick, we had talked on Friday when we kind of got this bad news last week, and we're just trying to turn this around as quickly as possible because roofers already have their summers planned, and obviously we'd like to get this taken care of. So I appreciate Nick. I know you guys were working on trying to get some documents for us, so.
Yeah, I think one, just to add to that note, schedule, preliminary looking at having this complete prior to, or roughly right around school is letting out that we can go through a quick bid process and get the contractors on as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Lippert. Board members? Do we have a motion?
Quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Junt.
Mr. Lippert, would you be looking at needing a special meeting in June then to address the bidding phase?
We were just talking about that previously. There's a strong likelihood that in order to make as much time as we can to have a special meeting at that point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we could make sure that timeline is shared with the board chair and Dr. Jermenson so they can make sure it
once
happens.
we get authorization to proceed, we'll be setting those dates here quickly. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to authorize JLG to proceed with that design document for the Hagen roof.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Paula, could you call the roll?
Barsh,
Aye.
Kilgore,
Aye.
Wallstead,
Yes.
Junt,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, superintendent consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the superintendent consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Paula, could you call the roll?
Kilgore,
Aye.
Wallstead,
Yes.
Junt,
Aye.
Barsh,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, board consent agenda.
Motion to approve the board consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Paula, could you call the roll?
Wallstead,
Yes.
Junt,
Aye.
Barsh,
Aye.
Kilgore,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, board debrief of meeting. Mr. Junt, I believe that was you at the previous meeting?
You're doing such a good job of keeping this to 90 minutes or less. I don't know if I want to say anything. So, no, I think that majority of the meeting here tonight focused on student achievement and student outcomes, and that's where we want to see the time spent. Definitely want to thank the teachers this week for all of the work that they put in throughout the district to make an impact on the students that we serve. So with that, I thought the meeting was effectively ran. A number of items here on the agenda that have significant impact across the district, but I think everything moved through very efficiently. So, anybody have anything else they would like to share as part of the debrief?
Board members, anything else you'd like to add? Hearing none, I just want to quickly say thank you. I think there's a lot that we have to do in this district to keep moving forward, and without our educators, we will not be doing that. So we're very appreciative of all they do for us. So thank you very much. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you very much, everybody. We will adjourn at 7:55.